Hello, my name's Shadarek, and welcome to my Mythic Plus guide for Fel-Scarred in the War Within Season 2, patch 11.1.5. Now, the main reason that I'm making this guide is due to some bugs with Eldrazi Reaver and the fact that I'm not recommending it be played until that is fixed. That said, I think Fel-Scarred is actually good. It's not as good as Eldrazi when it functions, but it is good. It does less prio damage, but more AoE, and it is significantly easier to play. So, that said, this will be a relatively fast and easy thing to pick up, especially if you're just swapping from already playing Havoc and going from Eldrazi to Fel-Scarred. You're really just doing the same thing, but easier. No longer having Reaper's Glaive as part of your kit, not worrying about soul generation in any way, and you also don't have Sigil of Spite in your rotation. So, let's look at the rotation on some dummies. So, typically what you do is going into a pull. Same thing as Eldrazi. You can Sigil of Flame on the way in, find a mob to hunt, and if you're worried about threat, you can use hunt later. You'll Blade Dance, spam out your Immolation Auras, regardless of how many procs you get, and then going into your I-Beam, make sure you Annihilate and Death Sweep for your Demon Surges. After the meta, you're going to Death Sweep. Again, you'll spam out your Immolation Auras, make sure you use an Annihilation for the Inner Demon, you I-Beam next. Same thing there. You will Death Sweep as soon as it's up because it's your highest priority button, and another Annihilation will proc your Inner Demon. Lastly was the Sigil of Doom that I pressed, and that is to proc the last Demon Surge. Now, looking at how the damage looks after all that, you're going to notice that compared to Eldrazi, Immolation Aura and Ragefire do insane DPS. This is due to the talents that are currently run on Fel-Scarred. This is a lot different than it was in the War Within Season 1. Again, significantly easier to play. You're not playing Inertia, just playing a low mover version of the spec. So that is just a lot taken out right away. You don't have Essence Break, which is again going to just make it simpler and easier to play. Student of Suffering is no longer played, as coming into Season 2 it was nerfed. Both the mastery increase was reduced, as well as duration was reduced, and it no longer applies to Demon Surge or Burning Blades, as those are now fire damage instead of chaos. But Flamebound was buffed, and it was also fixed. The 2-yard increase works on both Immolation Aura and Ragefire, making them an effective 10-yard range, as well as the increased critical strike damage bonus makes them deal an incredibly high amount of damage when it does crit. If you look at the average hit, you could see 68k on normal hits to 229k on critical strikes. And that also directly amps all the damage that is building into Ragefire, making Ragefire do significantly more DPS, while your Imma Aura, with its extended range, it's a lot easier to hit all targets with it. You can see from right here, this is close enough to hit this dummy, where typically, without Flamebound, you would need to be standing about over here to actually hit all the dummies. Alright. Next, what I'd like to look at is just quickly pulling up my Wowhead guide and going over the rotation page for it there, just as another way to look at it all. It really is that simple. Compared to Eldrazi, Fel-Scarred currently in Mythic Plus is a very easy build to play. The only thing that I will say is any globals that you lose, just like your actual Chaos Strikes that you're pressing on your priority target or in single target, do matter more on Fel-Scarred than they do on Eldrazi. Those do a larger percentage of your damage, and you will notice a big fall off in your priority damage and your boss damage if you have a lot of empty globals and you're not effectively spending all of your fury. Changing over to the rotation guide. If you open up the Wowhead guide and go to the rotation page, the page has been updated and now looks a bit different than it used to. Coming into the page and pressing whichever you are looking to, which in this case is for the Fel-Scarred low mover build, you can see the opener, which is going to be as I just described on the dummies before. You can also view how it plays in single target, and you can also find the AoE rotation and priority down below. Again, this is much simpler than playing Alterachi Reaver. As long as you're hitting your Death Sweep on cooldown, not allowing your Immolation Auras to overcap, and making sure that you spend all your Immolation Auras before you ever press Metamorphosis, you're most of the way there, and you're pretty much good to go. There's nothing to really overthink about with this spec. You never hold Blade Dance, you just press it on cooldown. If Blade Dance and I-Beam are both up, you press Blade Dance first, you can I-Beam after, and Death Sweep will still come up in your demonic window. So as long as you're hitting the buttons correctly, there's nothing that you can really make a mistake with rotation. Sigil of Flame has nothing special in the rotation, it just does pretty decent AoE damage, and that's about it. There's nothing else to really go over for the spec. It honestly is as simple as I'm saying it is. There is versions of it that can play with inertia, which would have a lot more complexity to it, but in my own play and testing, I've found that the low mover version just does similar or better damage anyways, so you're better off playing it. That concludes my Fel-Scarred guide for Mythic Plus. I know that there isn't exactly much in it, but it is, again, as simple as it sounds. Now, while Eldrachi Reaver is the stronger theoretical option over Fel-Scarred when it functions, again, currently in the patch 11.1.5, currently April 24th, 2025, as of the filming of this video, Eldrachi Reaver is bugged and has issues with Reaver's Mark. I will place the video describing that bug in the description below. Outside of that bug, though, I think Fel-Scarred is simple enough to pull off that for a large amount of Havoc players, if you're not particularly comfortable or don't even enjoy Eldrachi Reaver, you may be better off just playing Fel-Scarred. Because it's a lot easier, there's a lot less to have issues with, and as I said before, Eldrachi is theoretically better, but it needs to be played at a very high level in Mythic Plus to get most of its value out, where Fel-Scarred will likely do more overall damage without playing as perfectly. So play and test around and see what works for you, but I do recommend giving Fel-Scarred a try, especially if you haven't played it since Season 1 of The War Within, because it feels significantly better than it used to, and it has changed a considerable amount. That'll be everything for this video. Thank you, like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. I appreciate all the support. Have a wonderful day.